Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Titans Return Deluxe Class Hyperfire and Blurr. Now, Blurr's created a bit of a controversy as well as some of the other figures that we're getting because he was never a Titan Master or a Headmaster. In the North American series, he did become a Target Master, but I think for the story that Hasbro's trying to tell here with these Titan Master and Titan Return figures, Blurr as well as some of the other ones actually fit pretty decently. For the package though, you got a really nice clamshell that fully showcases the figure and his accessories. You can also see very nicely in the back his collector card, which is more of a full-scale representation of what you have here on the back of the card as well as what's on the side here. So you get a really good look at him, full body-wise. On the side, you got the Transformers text with the Generations logo up at the top. On the back, you got that crossplay pattern that shows you that all these Titan Master figures can be interchanged with the different scales of figures that are currently available. So you got a Deluxe Class Blurr here with his head Hyperfire, and that can go on a leader figure of another Voyager if you want, or a Deluxe, doesn't matter. Or heck, you can use it with some of the vehicles that come with the Titan Master figures. Then you got an image here of his robot mode, his vehicle mode, and that looks fantastic. I love how that looks. And then you got a bit of a read-up up here that says, the Autobots unite with Titan Master partners to power up for battle. Hyperfire boosts the speed of Blurr even further. Some bots say even fast enough to outrun a blaster. I don't know if that's possible. This dude was already pretty darn fast. But for the packaging on the guy, that's about it for him. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Blurr and Hyperfire open up and out of their packaging. And much like all these new Titans Return figures, he does come with a nice collector card that has a really cool image here of Blurr with the Hyperfire detaching from him. You got his name down here on the back. You got the tech specs for his strength, speed, intelligence, and fire blast, and how it increases when you attach Hyperfire. But one thing that's interesting is his speed without him is only a 9. And then when you attach Hyperfire, it goes up to a 14. Either way, I would think that he would be, more around this area for how fast he is. And that just seems kind of slow for Blurr. One thing also is his name is Hyperfire instead of Haywire, but I guess Hyperfire, Haywire, the names are kind of similar, but for whatever reason they changed it. But he actually looks really very cool. You got some nice paint detail in here coming in to take a little bit closer of a look. You got some nice kind of light bluish paint here on his actual mouth area. It's similar to the blue color that's on the top here of Blurr himself. And then you got some nice silver paint here on the actual arms. Again, real nice molding on here. Oh, you also got some kind of black down here on his shin. So a nice paint detail on this figure just in general. But again, I mean, I don't necessarily know if any of these parts are reused. I mean, I'm looking here and I haven't been able to really find one. So if you guys know of one, let me know, because I'm really curious. I'm looking at all these guys and all the like the arms, the legs, the thighs, everything on here just seems different, and it's kind of crazy. You probably couldn't see any of that. Now, for his transformation, again, you got the little Headmaster gimmick, so you just fold the little legs up like so, and there's the head for Blurr, and then you can even actually take this, and this is actually new on the Deluxe figures. You can extend that up, give a little bit more of that accurate kind of Blurr look, which this is really a very terrific head sculpt. I mean, even if you don't like the fact that Blurr's now a Titan Master, I mean, that's still a really nice head sculpt regardless. And hey, I mean, I guess if you, well, now see, if you remove the head, I mean, that would look kind of strange. Like, you could take these, I mean, they just tab in, so I'll give you kind of an idea. Let me get this out of the way. And people say that the heads, are a little bit too big. Oh no, that's actually pinned in there. A lot of these other ones, these aren't pinned in. So it's like, for example, you can just take that just tabs in there. So that's curious that they actually now put a pin through there, so you can't take that off. So it's like they don't want you to do it. They don't want you just to use that as his head. They want you to use the whole darn thing. But I don't think it really looks all that bad, to be totally honest with you. So even if you didn't like the whole, Headmaster, Titan Master gimmick or whatever, the head sculpt is actually still really very nice. I do find it funny that they're actually now pinning those hips in there. So setting him off to the side, well, I mean, let's take a look at some things here. You got some posts right here, so if you wanted to, you can peg them. Let's see, get in there. You can have them stand on them if you really want to. You can then take this. He actually comes with a little seated area that he can sit in. So, and again, real nice molded detail on the inside here. It's kind of hard to see because the lighting doesn't want to get in there, but you can see the sculpting for the actual seat is actually pretty, you can kind of see it. So that's actually pretty cool. And then again, you just take him, you fold him down, and you pop them. I'll make sure that whole section's in there. Pop them in there just like that, and then bring that, you know, I'll get them all the way down. There we go. And then you bring that right down, and now you can have them, you know, hovering around or whatever. I mean, he actually does have wheels, but in the original cartoon, he hovered more than anything. But the way that it's kind of elevated, it kind of looks like it hovers as it is. So, I mean, that's actually pretty cool. So, really dig that. Now, again, the color here is not what I think collectors would probably want, and that, I think, is the biggest nitpick about this figure. There isn't anything actually wrong with the color. The color is actually really very nice. It does have a very, almost metallic-y kind of look when you look into the actual paint detail itself. It's a really nice paint, but it's not the color that a lot of collectors would probably want for Blurr. Again, you do have Takara for that, which is giving a more cartoon accurate paint scheme, but in general, toy-wise, I think he still looks pretty good, and I think he's close enough. I mean, if you want to pay that extra money to get the better paint scheme, you can do that. You can also take the gun, and as you can see, you could have it underneath here. You could put it on the side. There's posts for that and everything, so you do have a couple of those right there. But in general, I really love the way that this looks. It does look very nice. Now, you can detach this, pull this off to the side. This section here will remove. You have to pull all this apart, and honestly, I think this is kind of ugly, to be totally honest with you, but it gives I guess, purpose to this whole front thing. I unfortunately don't have the original G1 toy, so I can't really do a comparison for you, but one thing that is kind of cool is that this section can't come off. You can then take this little Hyperfire figure, you can then put him right there, on there. You can bring this down like so. You can take this section here, and you can have a little sled thing form. Okay, I don't really care, but it does give, you know, some actual functionality to this piece. Honestly, though, for me, I just think I'm going to always leave it attached here. You can transform him with it attached. You don't ever have to take it off. It fits in perfectly with the whole look of him and everything, and you don't have to explode all these pieces out to kind of get that look. So you do have a little sled here for Hyperfire if you wanted to use it, but you know, it's whatever. His gun is a real nice silver paint. You can see that the actual molding does appear to be this a color that the rest of the figure does have, but the silver itself looks really nice. And then again, color wise, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it per se, just not the color that the cartoon had, so it's going to put some collectors off, but for a kid, I think it's perfectly fine. You got the nice lighter blue up here with the kind of gray here on the side. I do really like how he's got his little, I don't even know what you would call this, little scoopy thing that in the original, that became his head, or part of his head, so I do like the fact that they actually have that replicated on the actual head itself without actually being part of the head. So in general, vehicle mode wise, really very happy with how this turned out. Now to transform him, we're just going to set him back to the side. You can see, kind of see what's already going on with the transformation. You just take these arms, detach these off to the side and kind of hang them out just like so. Take this section here, you want to rotate this outward like that, and then you take this whole back section and you rotate this down. You're creating his legs, obviously. Go ahead, split that. Take this section right here, you rotate this around and tuck that inside his actual leg, and then you collapse these side panels back around, completing the overall look for his legs. Then you take the little sections here, fold these down, creating his feet, rotate these down like so. Take this whole top section. Like I said, you don't have to detach this to transform him, so you just rotate that back and it hangs off of his back just like that. Coming up here a little bit, then you take these arms, lift them up, and these will lock into place, creating his shoulders. Take these little side panels, rotate these back just like that. Do that on this side as well. They're on little hinges, but they are really tabbed in there securely, so get those all the way back like that. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one little piece here. You want to make sure that this section here, it's kind of hard to get to, but tab this down, lift this up. This little section right here, which was the back of his seat in vehicle mode, you want to make sure you fold this up, and that kind of creates an abdomen section. Bring this down, and then when you had him in his vehicle mode, that's about how far you would actually have his chest. In robot mode, it collapses even further, which is really nice. So then you just stand him up, get him standing, all right? Then we take Haywire, get his head situated, and then is he one of the ones that I have to rotate his head? Nope, there you go. Fits in there very nicely. Lift that little section up to kind of create the look. I wonder if it does feel a little bit loose. Let me try rotating his head. Sometimes rotating the head actually gives a little bit more of a secure connection in there. No, that's actually a little bit better, so I'm going to leave it like that. But getting all that situated and fiddling around with them, when you're done, there you have Blurr in his robot mode. And he looks really good. Now, in my review of Skull Cruncher, I mentioned that he's probably my favorite deluxe figure, and that is still true with this guy. While I really do like the overall look here for Blurr, I think he has a little bit more of a comic-inspired robot mode than I really would prefer. Now, vehicle mode-wise, I think he looks terrific. He's probably my favorite vehicle mode of all the deluxes. But robot mode, well, you know, he definitely evokes that Blurr kind of look and feel. Like I said, aesthetically, I just think that they went a little bit more with that comic representation, which isn't a bad thing, and I think that comic fans are really going to like the guy. But just for me personally, it's an aesthetic that I'm not 100% on board with. Now, that's not to say that this figure does not look good. He really does look good, and when you just look at him quickly, obviously, you're instantly going to be reminded of Blurr. He really does have a great look to him. Obviously, the color here is a little bit darker than I think a lot of collectors would like. The Takara one is a much lighter color. Again, though, that does not mean that the color on this is bad in any way, shape, or form. It does look good for this, but it is a little bit darker than what some people that wanted a cartoon representation of Blurr would probably like. Now, for some comparisons, unfortunately, like I said, I don't have a G1 version of him to kind of give you an overall, progression of how he looks. But here you have him next to a couple other of his Season 3 buddies. Obviously, we have the Deluxe Class RC and then the Voyager Class Springer. And size-wise, again, you can see that you do have a real nice size amongst them. The new Titans Return Deluxe figures do seem to be a little bit bigger on average than some of the previous Deluxes, but this does look really good together. For his articulation, we'll get his gun out of here, set that off to the side. Because of the way that the head is, you do have a little bit of a ball joint here with it. It kind of leans left and right some. You can kind of get it looking up and down. This section here does kind of fall down every now and then. But you also do get the nice rotation right there. The shoulders here are on ball joints, so you get a nice range of motion. But then there's also a hinge that allows you to lift it up like so. So you got two kind of points right there. He does rotate right above his elbow, and then you got a nice 90-degree bend at the elbow itself. His wrists actually do rotate. They have little mushroom pegs, so you can get the rotation going on there, which is really very nice. He does rotate at the actual waist itself. The hips here are on ball joints, so a nice range of motion there. The actual thighs have those same mushroom pegs, so you can swivel those. And then you technically, well, no, I thought you had two joints there, but you actually just only have the one joint. But you get a nice deep bend with that, as you can see. And then I guess you could kind of say that he's got some feet, the articulation, they just move up as part of the transformation, but maybe you can do a little running kind of pose or something like that. I don't know. But overall, again, really nice detail on here. The paint on here does look good, although it is slightly off. You got some nice, silver, red, and blue bits down here on his shins. You can see you got some nice darker blue kind of coming through there as well. This section here, like I talked about, you can remove this. It's kind of stiff, but you're going to have that there still no matter what, so it really doesn't matter. But you take this and use this as a shield kind of thing. I think that's how they actually have you doing it. So you put that as a shield on the side of his arm, and then you can have him holding a gun, which I don't know why you would maybe use a like that. He'll go, I'm gonna shoot you, pew 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 pew, something like that, or I guess I don't know. But like I said, I mean, this it doesn't bother me because you already have these little pieces kind of dangling out, so it doesn't bother me leaving this on it. Just kind of push that all the way up on his back, and it kind of fits. You got some really nice, I mean, looking at the back, you got some real great sculpted detail on there as well. Overall, like I said, really great looking robot mode on him. He definitely has a more comic book vibe to him, but he still came out really terrific looking, I think. And then obviously is that play pattern kind of mixes with both of these, or I should say all these figures in this new line. You can take, for example, I forgot this guy's name, but you could take him and you can drop the figure and you can put him in there. Oh, that does not stay in there really well at all if you rotate the head. It completely just pops right out. So let's see if it fits around the opposite way. Get that in there. There we go. Okay, so I mean, you could do that, and the color actually kind of matches pretty decently with it. I mean, it is almost the exact same color, maybe a hair darker, but kind of matches with what's going on here. So you could do something like that if you wanted to, or you can bring in, you know, Crash Bash. Let's get him on there. That looks strange, but you can do that. Or for example, here's another one. Get that guy, fit it in there, and you could do something like that. I mean, the possibility and the play feature, all very endless. Oh wait, I moved over to Hyperfire. I got to keep him out here. But for the transformation, obviously you're going to have to take it off. But like I said, really nice looking. It's probably one that I think, for me in my collection, I am probably going to pick up that Takar one. Several of the other ones, it really hasn't mattered to me that much. But I think with Blurr here, the Takar one is the version that I'm going to want. Now, coming down a little bit, showing you how to transform him back. Obviously, you just take the hands, you rotate these bits up like so. Do that on that side as well. Straighten them out, and then detach the shoulders from the torso and angle it down like that. Kind of keep that lifted up just to keep these legs a little bit free. Rotate this section back and around. This will tab into place right there. It'll also push this section up, so it puts it in the proper kind of depth, I suppose, which is really pretty nice. I'm going to lift that up. I'm going to fold the seat up, then come around here to the feet, fold those up along the side, come around here to the back, take these bits, wait, well, let's see, which way do they angle open? That way? Nah, well, maybe that way. No, there we go. Duh. You angle them out like so. Do that on both sides. Keep these all straight and everything. And then you got the little crest here on the inside of this leg. Rotate that piece out. Rotate this around like so. Rotate that around. Bring these two halves together. Push that in there until you hear it pop in. Come around here to the bottom. Then you just take these side panels and you tuck these in underneath just like so. Rotate these arms around so that the little thruster here is on the back, and then you just bring these down, and you're going to, as you bring it down, kind of tuck it in here, and then you bring all this together. This is all going to just squeeze and tab in very nicely. So again, you bring this down on an angle, put that little thruster on the inside just like that, and then push all this together, tabbing everything very nicely. Get this guy, you can then transform him, get him in a little seated pose. I had his head rotated, so I'm going to rotate that around, and then you just plop him right on the inside there, close that up, and there you have Blurr back in his vehicle mode. Overall, though, really great figure and great update to that classic character. This is, honestly, in my opinion, the best version of Blurr that we've ever gotten. A lot of other ones have been repaints of other figures, but this is definitely the best one, I think, in terms of a new updated sort of motif. Vehicle mode-wise is probably my favorite of all the Deluxe figures. It looks terrific and absolutely captures that Blurr look. Even with the inclusion of the new Titan Master gimmick, I don't think it imposes its kind of will on this figure, I guess. It doesn't ruin the figure. I actually think with this one, it's incorporated fairly decently. But this is, like I said, one of those figures that did create a little bit of controversy because Blurr was never a Headmaster in the original series. But like I said, I don't feel that the gimmick really ruins this figure in any way. If you don't want to pop the head off or anything like that, I think the head sculpt still looks really very nice. And again, I think that kids are going to enjoy that mix and match play pattern. The transformation on him is actually fairly easy. A lot of these new figures are, but it feels like, you know, Hasbro's kind of hit their stride with this simplified transformation stuff. They're doing a great job of getting what they need done in less steps than what it used to take them. So the transformation for this guy, I actually really enjoy doing. The robot mode, it does look good, don't get me wrong, but it has an aesthetic that I'm really not super keen on. But like I said, it doesn't make the robot mode bad whatsoever. It just wouldn't be my preferred look. But that being said, it still does look like Blurr. And as you can see when he was next to Springer and RC, he looks good with those guys. So without question, I like the guy and I highly do recommend him. I think collectors are going to be a little bit more inclined to go for the Takara one, and that's ultimately what I'm going to want for my display. But this is still a really good figure. Now Blurr, as well as the rest of the first wave of Deluxe figures, are slowly hitting various retail locations right now. Or as always, there's Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the first wave of the Titans Return figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please like and share it. Also, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way, you never miss a future review of mine. And besides, subscribing is free, so you might as well do it, right? And until next time, guys, I'll talk to you later.